It's another edition of the Rant Network. You got David Solomon hanging out over to my right, and I'm over here on the left. Kind of doesn't sound too right. Anyways, long story short, God hail the king, they say. The queen has moved on. And it's kind of really funny how every so many years you find this obnoxious group of people that want to dictate to the crown what they should and shouldn't do, how they should and shouldn't do, and to go so far as to call them racist.
Wow.
Yeah, no, they called the crown racist. Yeah, they did. But David, now they want to tell the crown that they should pay reparations.
Wow. It
To
goes.
whom?
Oh,
To
hold on.
whom? I don't get it. David, tell me
All
what
right.
you got.
So let's start from the beginning about this rant today, because when someone passes away, we try to honor the dead. Okay, if they're criminals, they're horrifying. I get it. But think of a family member. Do you sit and crap all over a family member, or do you go rip apart another family member because of that? Like, we don't do that. There's just no, we as a society, we don't try to do that. Now, I am not, Stuart, I don't know about you, but I am not a lover of the royal family. I'm not a monarchist. I don't run after this. But we have a very funny world we're in today. In the world of rudeness, in the world of being crass, in the world where we rip politicians, as we could see the right, the left, the whole nine yards, the royal family brought something very interesting to the world, and that is formality, pomp and circumstance, a certain decorum. I mean, if you were to meet a late queen, you couldn't walk up there in a pair of jeans and a t-shirt. You couldn't exactly you had to do it in a certain way. And you had to greet the queen in a certain way. And you had to do things in a certain way. There is a decorum, way you speak, the way you curtsy or bow or what. There's a decorum. And it's actually quite interesting. But where we are today is that decorum is out the window. And it really was in two areas. And you mentioned Christiana Amanpour in CNN, and I'm going to get to her in a second. But the first one was Ali Veshi on MSNBC. Now, this crud, this disgusting of a person, this guy who is originally from Kenya, who came to the United States, has decided that he knows better than anybody else how life should be. And he loves to throw the woke concepts like it's not only commonplace, but it has to be accepted. And if you don't, you are against me. Andrew Roberts is a British historian who was on his show and was talking about the British, the monarchy and whatever. And Ali Veshi only wanted Andrew Roberts to do is to crap on the monarchy. That's all. Crap on it. And if he didn't agree, Veshi would cut him off and rip him apart. And kudos to Roberts, who held his ground on a historical basis, on a decorum basis. It's kind of let the body, like go to the ground at least. Let's honor the queen, whatever, regardless of what you believe in. But Veshi, in his woke mentality, in his woke attitude, decided himself he was going to tell historians how history should be written. Now, this is the problem with the woke, the left. Who are you? Like, yes, we know about the monarchy. Stuart, we know the monarchy is filled. We have history filled with terrible stories up until the 20th century, right? The first half of the 20th century, colonialism. We know about this. But Queen Elizabeth was not an invader. She was not a conqueror. She became queen in 1952, way past the British monarchy's peak. And yet, all Veshi wanted to do was to rip them apart about being colonialists. Now, imagine, if you will, your mother has passed away and people are tearing you apart about how you should act. Congratulations, Christiana Amanpour from CNN, this individual whom I cannot stand. She's a overt racist. She demanded that King Charles pay reparations, justice in the wake of Black Lives Matter. That what the British monarchy has done, the British Empire should pay reparations globally. This is insanity at its best. This is the woke, once again, not understanding anything but demands that are unrealistic. First of all, how dare you? I mean, his mother has just passed away, and you already attack him, and then you demand how he should act, and then Stuart. I'm this boils my blood of how the
Okay.
woke just cannot act.
Listen, you ran a third of our quarter hour, and I'll be brutally honest. Listen, lover, not lover of the crown, we both grew up in a country that was under the Queen's rule, even by a distant rule because we kind of voted her out. But
Ceremonial, yeah.
it was a ceremonial role, but she still had some power through her elected official who served as a representative of the Queen in council. At the end,
No,
yeah. You
it was
should do some research
ceremonial.
on that, David. It's beyond. It's more than
Okay,
ceremonial.
I will tell you as a history major, I'm not going to correct you, but Canada, the Queen has had zero political power in Canada. She was a ceremonial head of state. But go on, go on, go on.
Yes. Okay. You're still part of the Commonwealth, and being as a part of the Commonwealth, you had to obey the unofficial rule or the proctor set up by the Queen. Correct. Canada is a sovereign country, but still under partial rule. But anyways, let me bring up the point I'm trying to make: is that every country in the world still looks to the Queen. I mean, and the king and the monarch. I promise you that if the king was to go to Montreal, Toronto, or any Canadian city, there would be tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people lining the streets to see royalty pass through the country. And
Hmm.
I can promise you with utter certainty, if the queen was to come into any state in the union, there would be hundreds of thousands of people lining to see
Hmm.
the monarch.
Hmm.
The monarch is fascinating because it's the longest proper monarch to still exist and still run. There's a king in Jordan, there's a king in, but it's not looked at the same way. No one in any other country cares about the king of Jordan as they do the king of England. I just don't, I don't
Yeah,
know how else
but
to.
but I'll tell
And,
you this,
and,
Stuart.
and you as a student of history should know that though your power may not be in literal sense, it's always in figurative sense.
Look, Stuart. Let's be realistic here, okay? I mean, the king and the queen. Obviously, you're right. There are many, many countries around the world that are and people, vast majority. And this was the argument that this British historian was making is that yes, that while we're not, even Britain is not the crown doesn't legislate. The crown has no real political power. It's very ceremonial. A vast majority of Brits adore the monarchy, whether you like it or not. Now, the crazy thing here is that to an Ali Veshi, to a Christiana Mampour, that's vile. That's vile. It represents everything that they detest. And really, between you and me, Stuart, yes, we know that history is ugly. And you and I have talked about this many times. But if we were to be this ugly, the state of Israel, for example, would have no relationship with Germany, right? Because Germany, because of what the Nazis did in the 1940s, we would all be saying, Israel would be saying, I want to have no relationship with you because of your history. We moved on. We've evolved from this. We've learned from this. But yet, Ali Veshi and Christiana Mampour don't want to learn. They want to punish. They want to penalize. They want to hurt. They even want to take down the crown.
Of
And you
course
know
they
what?
do.
The majority of the people out there don't want to be ruled by a crown, right? None of that wants to be ruled by a crown. And as you're posting up there about the Governor General of Canada, this is about ceremony. This is about what people
It's
love about the.
mostly, you're correct, it's mostly about ceremonial, but again, mostly, the word mostly is very specific. You're trying to be absolute where there is no input. No, that there is.
But that's not the
Canadian
point of
government
this. That's
does
not the.
does
But that's
rely.
not the point of the rant, Stuart.
No,
The
it's not
point
the
of the
point of the rant.
rant
I'm just
is
giving out the history, the facts, and
that's
it's
okay.
just on how obnoxious people. Listen, when King Charles got divorced, everyone said the Queen is going to skip over the Prince. Well, They wanted this to happen to muddy and sully the waters where the Queen was not going to break from protocol. The Queen of England, may she rest in peace eventually, she's in standing today, you know, was by far the most politically correct queen of the modern era. There's no one else that can rival what she did. She was politically correct from beginning to end. I don't think there's too many people that could say one thing that Queen Elizabeth ever did that was controversial.
Whether
And
she
I,
did or not, whether listen, Stuart, that's not the point. The
but
point here, the point,
why the
the po-
woke want to go now is because they
because
feel that King Charles is going to have to do something to pressure, and Prince
well,
Harry, who wants to be called Prince Harry again, wants to be able to help move their
but
woke movement because
but
Prince
look,
Prince Harry's another woke guy.
no, but look, we know, but that's not that the thing to me, which is, and this is what we were, the rant was meant to be. Why is it that the woke continues to yell, demand, insult, and
Because
believe
that
that they're right? It's funny because, as I said, you have a certain protocol when talking to royalty. And while Diana, God bless her, tried to, you know, humanize her children, and while she tried to make things more interesting or whatever, when you're royalty, when you're in that area, you don't have that luxury. But on the other hand, we've learned that the protocol when talking to royalty is not the same. Now, yes, Oprah had her beautiful discussion with Harry and Meghan, and it created sensation and whatever. And those waves just went to prove why the woke is wrong. You don't need to do this. You just leave this alone. Does it represent the worst of history? 100%. But then I'd have to blow up the world and start all over again because everything has a horrifying representation.
Yep,
Whether you're in Canada, Australia, Japan, China, Egypt. What I should go to? I should look at the pyramids and go, oh no, we should really eliminate the pyramids because they represent slavery. Guys, it doesn't end, and you're
it
insulting
doesn't
of the
end,
crown,
David. It doesn't end.
and the
You know,
insulting of the crown is just over the line.
listen, but even the Christians had their share of destroying pagan god idols, right?
Sure, yeah.
So it seems like, and the Muslims have destroyed every single religious item they get their hands on in every part of the world.
Only recently. Let's not
No, no, no,
let's
no,
not
no. And
confuse
actually,
history.
well, what's recently to you? What's recent? 100
Stuart,
years?
I'm saying let's not confuse. Let's not turn this into a
No, I don't
religious.
want to confuse the rant. The rant's around the obnoxious woke trying to jawbone the royal family while they're trying to bury their loved one. I think it's obnoxious is not even the slightest way to describe it. I think it's beyond obnoxious. I think it is rude. I think it's nasty. And I think it shows their true colors of just being absolutely moronic. Whether it's not a poor, whether it's this one, this station, that station, the woman isn't laid to rest. Why
You
don't you
know
give
what?
the family time to
You know
mourn?
what? It's so funny because if you look at almost every news feed today, and I mean, we just went through yesterday 9/11.
Yeah.
21 years of 9/11, and give God bless the Queen for what she did. She actually changed protocol by raising an American flag
Yep.
and put it at half staff to commemorate 9/11. I mean, she went across, like she did it right. And while you
Well,
could say that the
you're just
history of the
agreeing
crown,
with me, Dave. You're just
right, but
agreeing.
that,
She
but
was the
Stuart,
most
that's my point.
politically correct monarch
It's
in
not
the
just
modern
no,
era.
it's
Well,
not
the
only
only one,
PC.
really.
No, it's not only PC. It's sensibility. And for the woke to go and desecrate her memory the way they're doing this right now just shows you their destructive mentality. It's not constructive. There's no honoring. I either agree with you or I disagree with you. I'm either your ally or your enemy. And with that, Stuart, we end this rant by saying, let her lay in peace.
Yep, I agree. David, may the Queen rest in peace and may the King rule with virtue.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you on Wednesday.